What is up and welcome to Conversations with Female Founders. I'm Grace Beverley, founder of a few businesses called Tala, Shreddy and The Productivity Method, host of Working Hard, Hardly Working podcast, and most importantly, someone who loves talking about women in business more than maybe any other topic. I'm so excited to partner with Adobe Express on these real, candid and open conversations for International Women's Day with some amazing female business owners. This series is all about celebrating women who are building incredible brands, breaking barriers and sharing their journeys completely unfiltered. I truly believe you cannot be it until you can see it, and so I can't wait to get into the weeds with the most incredible women all building powerhouse businesses. Adobe Express is the quick and easy create anything app that's all about making content creation simple, accessible and high quality, whether you're an entrepreneur, a creator or someone with a vision. It is a super easy to use tool with templates, AI powered features and everything you need to design socials posts, flyers, logos, presentations and just about anything you need to market a business without needing professional skills. You can try it out for free by heading to the App Store. Today, I'm chatting to the amazing Emily English, a nutritionist, brand owner, author, and content creator who, over the past couple of years, has really rewritten the blueprint for anyone looking to build a business from educational, value-packed content. She's built a community of over 2.5 million followers on social media with her easy, colourful recipes. Her book, So Good, was an instant Sunday Times bestseller when it was released last year, and her supplement brand, Epitome, was released to the same huge acclaim. From the outside, her journey has looked like an incredible overnight success, but I know that behind every overnight success is a hell of a lot of hard work and even more strategic thinking, so I can't wait to get into our chat. I hope you love it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Starting at the very beginning, would you say you have always been the type of person who's wanted to work for themselves?
100%. And when I was at school, I was the kind of person who used to skip lessons because I knew that I could learn it better myself at home.
Okay.
So I don't know why. I've always just been incredibly kind of independent with my thoughts and kind of my creativity. And I haven't always been comfortable just slotting into a box or what I was expected to be.
And what was it about working for yourself that you really aspired to?
I think it's that freedom and that level of when you work for yourself, I think it's waking up and choosing what I want to do in the day. And I've always been that creative person, and the ability to just wake up and be able to do whatever I want creatively, I think is just, like, for me, the richest way to spend life.
And I know you ran a Deliveroo kitchen before you even started on Instagram. Was that your first taste of, I guess, like running a business?
So I used to have my own kind of one-to-one nutrition clinic, which I started up during lockdown actually, because I left my job, started my own kind of Emily English nutrition. And then I ended up doing the delivery kitchen as a consequence of having the clinic. So the clinic was probably my first experience of brand building and brand growth and putting that all together. Then the delivery kitchen was like a real test and thrown into the world of marketing. So how could I get my delivery kitchen out there? How could I get my product out there? How could I make sure that enough people are able to see and buy from me?
And what would you say was the hardest part of running that business?
I definitely think consistency. Because consistency is everything, especially when you're thinking about food. Like, you go to a restaurant, you don't have a great experience, you don't go back to that restaurant. So when you're trying to build a business that's literally based on singular experiences and you want to try and get that repeat customer, that was the hardest thing. So making sure recipe cards were really tight, making sure that food ordering was really tight, staffing, trying to juggle all of that for the first time I've ever done anything like that. I've worked in restaurants before, I've worked in kitchens before, but it was my first time that I had to be essentially general manager, head chef, marketer, brand builder, all in one.
And what was the first piece of content you ever made?
So the first piece of content I ever made was a reel that I filmed. I think it was a shaved salad, like a satay salad. And I put my phone in my kitchen cupboard, facing down on my chopping board. I think I had like a teacup balanced onto it. Didn't have any tripods at this point, no professional lighting. It looked terrible. I'm pretty sure that I edited it on like 2 times speed as well. So it was like, but it's so funny. If I ever want inspiration of how far I've come, I literally just scroll all the way back and I see the first video that one that I've ever done. I'm like, wow, I have come a long way. But I taught myself everything. Like, I became my own videographer. I became my own editor. I learned what people engaged with and I learned what people liked. And I also knew what I liked and what I liked my content to look like. And I think that's really important to anyone who is kind of wanting to grow a business or getting into content creation. You have to compete with yourself and you have to really set the bar alongside yourself. And I think that's really key.
Yeah, and like getting that feedback loop and understanding that you're putting yourself in the position to actually receive that feedback from your ideal customers in terms of like, what are they trying to tell you so that each time you can do it better for your own good.
I think when it comes to content creation, you're always very vulnerable when you're putting things out there. It's, are people going to like it? Are people going to engage with it? Is this something that people are going to find valuable? But my biggest piece of advice is vulnerability creates growth, and you learn so much from what doesn't go your way or what doesn't go right or what doesn't get engagement versus the stuff that does, in my opinion. I have learned the most and I've been able to consistently improve my content based on what people are responsive to or what they are receptive to, what they like, what they do save. So try not to live in fear of that pursuit of perfectionism, because if I waited to be perfect, I would have never started. And going back to my original content is proof of that.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good point.
It's quite hilarious, actually.
Mine too.
If anyone wants to laugh, keep scrolling back to Emma Nutritionist. First one.
And what do you think is key to building a brand on socials now?
Carve out your strategy and stick to the strategy. I think so many people kind of confuse who they are. And if you're confused about what your brand is, so is your customer. So I, at the very, very beginning, carved out the strategy of the food you want to eat designed by a nutritionist. And that has underpinned every single recipe, every single brand that I've ever worked with, collaboration, book deal, has always been underpinned by that strategy. And I think having that recognizable pattern of business is what really starts to build community and your audience. So as long as I stick to that strategy, everyone knows exactly who I am. I can digress, obviously, creative, like when it comes to a creative side of things, explore different paths, explore different lanes, but they're always underpinned by that core strategy. So identify the strategy and stick to it.
So like really having a strong focus.
Very strong focus. And I always say, if I meet you for the first time, I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. Who are you? What are you about? I feel that who are you, what are you about, has to be very, very clear from the get-go. You can't start not knowing who you are, because people can't hold on or relate to or latch on to something that they don't recognize or they don't understand either.
And how do you balance the need for educational, value-packed content whilst running more than one business?
So it's definitely difficult. Using Adobe Express is phenomenal because I can basically do everything under one umbrella. When I am editing content, because everyone thinks I have this massive team, but I don't. I'm the only person who runs all of my social platforms. I am my own videographer, I'm my own editor, I'm my own marketer, and I honestly do it all on Adobe Express. So I can edit, I can cut down, I can use AI to help generate inspirational captions. If I'd had a really long day and I'm like, I don't even know where to start, I just literally type something out, can use AI, and it just comes up with something that's much better than what I came up with. And I think when it comes to quality of life, time is everything. And now I obviously wear a lot of different hats. I'm a recipe creator, I'm an author, I own multiple businesses. Time is so precious to me. And whilst I still want to keep really close to my core strategy and what I love, like I love making recipes. I love filming them. I get excited to edit them and put them together. I get excited to create new campaigns and put them out there. It's really important that I'm using software and things that actually support that valuable time for me. So I do have the freedom to be able to see friends, spend time with my husband, and keep the balance.
Yeah, so like really using the right tools to make sure that just more time than needs to be isn't spent on anything.
Exactly. And I think using the right tools will save so much time. And then the more time I have, the more time I have to create and build my brand, build my business and grow it even further. And I mean it's working. Everything is kind of like consistent. I've got a really nice pace and a really nice flow with my life, and using those tools help support that.
And what would you say is the best business decision that you've ever made?
I think the best business decision that I ever made was to back myself and just do it. And so often in life, we can feel so nervous about taking that jump, taking that leap. But it's actually crazy how easy it is to create something that you believe in. And I think in this day and age now, we do have access to such incredible tools. We can build a business off our phone. You've got an idea, you've got a concept, you have that really nice clear strategy, you know, and you feel like there's an audience for it who will relate to it. You can build a brand off your phone. And I just find that nuts. So my best decision that I've ever made is just believing in myself and putting every single thing into what I believed in.
Yeah, it's so true. And those barriers really have been broken down in so many ways by the fact that you just do not need to be a professional at anything you're doing in order to start a business. And I think we've never seen that before in generations before. Like it just wasn't possible. Even with the internet, you would still have so much that you would need to be at least kind of semi-professional at to be able to build a business. And actually those barriers are just coming down more and more.
It's crazy because 10 years ago, I probably would have had to get a videographer to do all of my filming. I would have had to get a graphic designer to put together different campaigns or marketing tools or even like email templates. And it's Adobe Express now. I can literally go on, scroll through, find the perfect template for what I want, and I can stick a whole marketing campaign within 24 hours. In fact, not even 24 hours. I can stick a whole marketing campaign within an hour, and it's done. And that is what is so brilliant. And I think anyone who feels like, starting a business or coming up with a creative concept and getting it out there is going to face so many different walls, you can really be a multi-person business as one singular person.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. And really being able to be reactive based on the fact that you can do everything much quicker is so important. And that's what makes a strong socials brand.
Yeah.
How did it feel launching Epitome, and what were the biggest challenges you faced actually getting the brand off the ground?
Epitome was amazing because I basically had the opportunity to build something from the ground up, and I basically say it's like one of my best recipes ever. It's the perfect combination of every single bit of science, everything that I love and I learned from my community, my one-to-one nutrition background. Getting it off the ground and creating clear brand visuals was definitely a journey. But again, I have with Adobe Express, I basically have different brand categories. So Epitome, I'm able to identify every single brand color, brand font, and every single time I wanted to do a social media post for Epitome, I could just knock something up based on the templates, apply the brand pack to that template, and pump content. Marketing is absolutely crucial. And I'm very lucky that I do work with a brilliant team at Epitome who are very familiar with this. But being able to create content, put marketing spend behind it, getting it to reach the right people, getting the right people to be able to kind of click and convert is crucial for a business that's trying to grow. And especially with the type of business that Epitome is, every single thing really has to provide value for the consumer in my eyes. It is a consumer-focused product. I really do think it's life-changing, and our customers have said the same for them. And it's important that our story and everything that people see when they come to our page, when they come to our website, also reflects that. So just being able to talk to real people. We do these amazing customer interviews where we basically record a little live podcast where we get a customer testimonial. They tell us about their experience. We're then able to take that recording, stick it into Adobe Express, edit it, modify it, splice it down, put all of our brand colors, brand logos, everything, export it straight onto Instagram and upload it. So I can literally do a live interview to creating the the in-feed post to posting in no time at all. So that's basically what would have taken maybe 2-3 days, takes 2 hours.
And such a huge team as well. Like you would have had to launch with, to get that standard of content, like the amount of time intensity and like the amount of roles that would take up is a lot more.
That's the thing. It's incredibly high quality content made by one person. And I think that's what's changing the game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And what would you say the biggest challenges you faced for, I guess, from starting the brand 6 months ago or even before then to now have been?
I think it's about trying to educate people about what it is. So when you're doing something that does have a little bit more complexity around the science, it's a little bit more complicated. Not every single person understands different live bacterial strains and what that like trademark means. And it's trying to make sure in layman's terms that I can tell everyone how amazing this product is, but still make it really user-friendly and accessible, that I'm not trying to overwhelm people. And this is the thing with the health industry. We get given so much information. There's so much misinformation out there. It's really making sure that our story is consistent. And I think consistency with that messaging is everything. I want people to be able to hear the same things, because when you hear the same things and you get that repetitiveness with your brand story and who you are as a brand, it probably takes 4 or 5 exposures for people to finally actually understand who you are as a brand. So that's really crucial for me.
And do you think that's been harder than you expected?
It definitely has, because you don't have a lot of time with your consumer or with your audience. We are living in a very swipe focused culture, so people probably will give you 3 seconds of their attention each time. So trying to come up with content that is beautiful, that is like eye-catching, that hooks you in and you want to engage with it, that's been the most difficult thing. But again, that's where data and feedback, when you can look at something and be like, oh, this actually got the longest view time and people didn't swipe until a certain amount of time. So it's understanding who is watching, what they like, and don't be afraid to just kind of rinse and repeat. So copy, repeat what works.
And what would you tell yourself at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey if you could talk to her back then?
You can do it. And if you put your mind to something and you have that clear focus, make sure that you build a life that doesn't feel like hard work, that is full of inspiration, that is full of joy. You can do it, and the road doesn't need to be hard. Utilize the things that you know make your life easier. Find the right tools, find the right software, find the right people, and find the right audience. Because if people don't resonate with you or they don't like what you're saying, they're not your audience. Because if you have an idea, I guarantee you will never be alone with that pain point or with that, I really feel like I need to make a brand because this is missing. It's probably missing for a lot of people. And don't be afraid to jump in, get started, and just give it a go. And the road may be stressful at times, but I promise it will all be worth it.
That's such a good answer. And thank you so much for joining me. You've been incredible.
Thanks for having me.